How's it going? My name is Benjamin Foley, and I am here with your latest video in the April Awakening series. I'm really excited about how this is going. I've had such great feedback from you guys, and so thank you so much for watching and continuing to watch. Like I said, there's going to be a new video every single day of April, so make sure to subscribe to the channel or jump on the email list just to make sure you get every one of these videos. Okay, let's jump into today's topic. One of the biggest things surrounding mindfulness and meditation is the myths that surround it. I know I was as guilty as the next person when I first heard about mindfulness and meditation. I kind of had this weird vision of some guru, burning incense, drinking some goat milk tea somewhere in the Himalayas, banging a bongo drum. I was very, very allergic to the idea of mindfulness and meditation. But all of that is false. It is complete garbage. A lot of it is simply marketing and branding from some of the people who brought the practices over to America. I won't name any names, but in reality, mindfulness and meditation is a practice. It's an operating system on which everything else can run and run better and run more effectively. And so today we're going to talk about the 7 key myths that we need to really eradicate if we are ever to really get into this practice and get the most out of it. And so the first one is religion, or you need to be religious to do mindfulness, which is an understandable myth, because mindfulness meditation really was rooted in Buddhism and other ancient Eastern traditions. But the fact of the matter is, mindfulness has nothing to do with religion. You can be an atheist and practice mindfulness. I know that sounds ridiculous, but you can. It's a way to work with your breath, a way to work with your mind and body. There's nothing extraterrestrial or esoteric with the practice. It's actually very simple, and so that's something that I really struggled with first. I'm not sure about Buddhism, but you don't have to be religious to meditate. Okay, so and then myth number 2 is something that I struggle with. A lot of people I talk with struggle with, like, how should I sit, right? Like, I don't know how to sit like Rafiki and Lion King, right? Like, I don't either. Look at, like, I am very inflexible. So it doesn't matter. It does not matter where or how you sit, just that you do it, right? You can do it on your commute home from work. You can do it in your bed before you go to bed. You can sit on your lazy boy. You can be hanging from a freaking tree. It doesn't matter. All of those rules and all of those stipulations of how you should and how you shouldn't sit. Those are not necessary to get the real fruits of the practice. So that's myth number 2. Myth number 3 is, very very closely in line, but it's something that's still very relevant today. Is the myth number 3 is that you have to do it at a studio or that you have to do it with a group. And I'm all for groups. I'm all for yoga studios. I'm all for kind of the meditation studios that are now starting to pop up, like Mindful in New York, which are great places to go. But don't hold yourself to needing to be in a group or a sangha, as a lot of them are called. You don't need to do that, and it is good to keep your practice going. But you can do it alone. You can do it by yourself. You can do it anywhere. Like we said in the last myth, in your car, at home. You don't need a group. You don't need to go to a studio. You can do it wherever you want. And so myth number 4, which is the biggest one that a lot of people just starting out meditation have struggled with, is that they think that meditation is not thinking. And you're a human being. Hopefully, if you're watching this, I mean, there might be some really cool dogs out there, but I'm not sure about your guys' psychology. But for humans, we're going to always be thinking. We think a lot. I mean, there's some studies that are not 100% accurate about, that we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts, a day. And that might not necessarily be accurate, but the truth of the matter is you will always be thinking. And mindfulness is not about stopping thought. That was a huge one for me, that barrier that I needed to get over. To really, I was like, I could never stop thinking. I'm constantly thinking. I'm constantly, talking, and my mind's always going. Mindfulness is not about stopping that. It's about stepping back and watching the cars of thoughts, kind of drive past you as you're on the bench beside the road. It's not about being the dog chasing every car. It's about being the old guy on the bench watching them and not racing after them. That is the crux of mindfulness. Is just being able to watch thoughts arise and be like, wow, that's a pretty irrational thought. I'm not going to go to jail for jaywalking the street, right? That's pretty irrational. But sometimes we have these weird thoughts, and what mindfulness teaches us is when those arise throughout the day, we're able to watch them and then not react and let them just fall away, because thoughts will come and go. You will never be able to stop them. So don't think that you have to stop thinking to practice mindfulness. Okay, number 5 is that a lot of type A people think that mindfulness and meditation is going to stop them from being successful. It's something that I intimately understand. When I was really struggling with anxiety and stress, for some reason success and ambition and career were still more important. I don't know if that's just something that's in my DNA from being raised in America, the American dream, all that stuff, but for whatever reason, I felt like these two goals of seeking internal peace and seeking external success, however you want to define that, were completely negatively correlated. But they're not. One will help the other. Specifically, if you practice and master mindfulness and are able to use your brain more effectively, you are going to be more successful in what you do. You're going to be, maybe the success you've had while going crazy is actually just, the not the norm. It's it's the isolated object within the process. And if you start slowing down your mind and making slower responses, skillful responses to actions, you actually be more successful in what you do. I'm not saying that I'm the most successful person, but if you look at some of the people that are really preaching and speaking on mindfulness, like Tim Ferriss, and Tony Robbins has his own priming practice, and Ariana Huffington, and some of these other really great leaders and successful people, they got there because they were willing to protect the asset, protect the brain, protect what was keeping them going, guys. And if you work in a first world country, you rely on your brain for your entire job. So start taking the breaks, start having a little warm bath for that mind, and I promise you, it will not inhibit your ambitions or your ability to be successful. So that's myth number 5. Myth number 6, that meditation and mindfulness is for weird people or weak people. Something that I kind of ignorantly thought as well is like, oh yeah, like I'm a man, I can't meditate, I'm gonna go run really hard and work out and go to HIIT class and CrossFit. But it's all bullshit. It doesn't. There's no man, woman, weak, strong. If your mind is not where it should be, it doesn't matter. You could be the biggest guy in the world, and have a weak mind. Meditation is about strengthening. It's about resilience. It's about pushing through when things get tough. There's nothing weak about it. And so I had to overcome that portion of my own ego to really start diving into the practice and getting even more and more out of it. And it's something I'm still working on, right? All of these myths or these limiting beliefs, as some might call them, are things that are, you don't make one decision and then they're gone. I'm still struggling with them, as well as everybody else that I know that practices mindfulness. It's becoming aware of them, and then being able to not believe them or really act on them. And so the last myth here, seventh myth, is probably up there with the one thing I hear the most from people who have never meditated or mindfulness is I don't have the time, or it's not that important, or I could never just sit there, right? These are things we hear from people who don't understand, my opinion and opinions of a lot of people that, are entrepreneurs and successful, is that is that busyness is a form of laziness. Not taking the time to understand how something can affect you and just brushing it off as being, a waste of time, or that you don't have enough time for it is just being lazy. You're being lazy. I'm sorry. And if you're still here on this video, which I hope you are, and you think this way, you're being lazy. You need to protect your brain. It's the one thing keeping you in business or in your job or in your relationship. As soon as your brain goes, you go. Go talk to somebody with Alzheimer's. Go to the closest funeral home near you and go talk to somebody whose mind isn't there anymore. They can't really do much, okay? And so just like you're going to go exercise to keep your body fit and to keep your cardiovascular up and all these other great benefits, meditation will only make you stronger. It is worth your time. It is well worth your time. I think Russell Simmons said it so great. He said, if you don't have 30 minutes to meditate, you should meditate for 3 hours. It's that important, guys. I'm telling you. And so these were the 7 myths of mindfulness and meditation, and I hope some of these hit home. But just let me know in the comments, what have you heard? What are some, maybe some myths or some limiting to beliefs that you have about meditation that you would like me to talk about or answer? I'd love to hear from you guys. So let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.